We'll talk to Jay Johnson coming up here 20 minutes or less. Sounds like a pizza delivery. Though I'll tell you, when they say 20 minutes or less, I always get it in 21 minutes or more. No doubt. Sometimes, I live in a residential area where there's not many businesses, mostly houses. Stacy, one time I ordered a pizza and they're like, yeah, it'll be 90 minutes. I'm like, what, are you kidding me? Am I here for breakfast? 90 minutes? What are you?
Was it like a Friday or Saturday night?
It was.
Yeah.
It was. No, I mean, I get it, but like, who waits that long?
Did you?
No, I went and picked it up.
Oh, okay.
It was like, well, that was the thing. It's like at 3/4 of a mile. The other one, I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere. So I had the choice of driving.
Oh my god!
I had the choice of like driving a mile and a half or waiting 90 minutes.
So
for
going
pizza.
and picking it up yourself, which would have taken you
I didn't
8-10 minutes,
which I did. But look, I didn't order, and when my wife orders, there is no pickup. If the option is delivery, yes, that's not a me thing. Because growing up, my dad, he says frugal, I say cheap. Whatever. Mm-hmm. He would never have anything delivered. Are you kidding me? I'll get it myself. I would never. So, I'm not like him in that regard at all. Like, I am Captain Spend Your Money right now, and he's probably still has tooth fairy money from when he was 12, 50 years ago.
Well, I've never been to New York, but I'm assuming like everything there is delivered.
Well,
your wife is from New York.
Yeah, but
so.
You are thinking of like New York proper, like Manhattan.
Uh-huh.
She's from Long Island, which is still New York, but you have cars.
Okay.
So you're talking about living in the city, and you don't want to walk 30 city blocks walking your food back. Totally. But that's not. Yeah, no. That is not why she does that. I like how you're so kind in trying to explain it for her that way, but it's not how it goes.
I was trying to be nice there, Carrie.
No, it's all right. She'd be the first one to tell you. She doesn't need me to say it for her. She doesn't need me to stick up for it. She's way tougher than I am. Everybody knows that.
Oh, we know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We'll get to the NBA playoffs. I mean, we could talk basketball, or we could just explore the theory that the Morris twins switched. I'd rather talk about that. Because it just, I mean, the most important question is, but what if they did? And then somebody says, no, they probably didn't. But then I say, yeah, but what if they did? Yeah, but they didn't. Yeah, but what if they did? Yeah, but Zach, they didn't. But what if they did? So we'll explore what if they did. Like, but just for a second, Stacey, how many of us have
It didn't happen, though, Zach.
But what if it did? How many of us have the opportunity in life to even do this? That's what's so fascinating to me about it.
Very few.
Yeah.
I mean, whenever you're talking about what percentage of the population are twins.
And then they have to be identical.
And then
of the same sex
that's
and
what I'm
identical.
saying, let alone of the same sex and identical.
You can be identical and be male-female.
Yes.
You just don't look identical, but that's not actually the definition anyway. Longer story than it needs to be told. Yeah, and there are 2 generations of people that grew up with the same movie in The Parent Trap. Now, if you're much older, you saw the original Splice black and white version. If you're my age, God bless Lindsay Lohan, right? What am I talking about? Also Dennis Quaid. He was the dad.
I just love how that was a little afterthought of.
Well, and the woman. And what was the woman's name? She was.
I have no idea.
She was.
I couldn't stand that movie.
She died in a skiing accident. She had head trauma. Oh man.
Is she related to Sonny Bono?
No, that happened like decades apart.
So they could be related.
One of the Kennedys too, I think, if I'm not mistaken, died that way as well. Anyway, that's way off the. But because of these rarities, I mean, Stacey, if we were just talking about having a sibling, like how boring. Who doesn't have one of those? I mean, some people don't, but most people do. I do. You do. We do. But to have one like that, I don't know. Why is today not Tuesday? Can we get Ryan on the phone here? I have a question. I have a twin question. Is he getting the sense? Is he going to call me? He had that twin. Oh no, wait.
You're not a twin with
right. No, there's no. I can't break the twin thing on my own because I'm not a twin, right? Like I
don't know. I'm not a twin. I don't know.
Damn.
I don't know how it works, Zach. I'm sorry.
Could you imagine if there was 2 of me?
Oh, no.
We talk
the
about
world
that.
couldn't handle that.
That's probably why I'm a single birth. We talk about that with our son too. Like this morning, he was running around in his underwear, with a diaper on. He took his pants off. I don't know how he did it. And he was opening he'd gotten through the baby gate and was opening our cupboards in our kitchen and just throwing stuff out. And I'm like,
You haven't baby-proofed yet?
well, we did, and the baby proofing thing that we bought, there was only 8 of them, I think, and we have way too many cabinets. So I haven't had a chance to do the rest of it. So I've picked the ones that are like, the cabinet he got into today was Tupperware. Go nuts,
Okay.
kid. What are you going to break? But anything that's heavy or glass or sharp or chemical, that's all.
Okay.
So I had to pick.
Okay.
So the ones that are open is the food pantry, which I've had to stuff everything on like the top 4 shelves. And then some things, but here's what I've learned. You've got to, because he can open it, he's got to be able to grab something. Otherwise, he'll freak out. So I put like, I don't know, something you can't break or like a pouch of something squeaking. But man, the long story short, I thought, oh my God, if there was another one right now. 2 of them.
No, thank you.
That's what I'm saying. Like, can I get half of the one I have?
And that was the thing. Like, I always said, if I had kids, I would want twins.
Hell no.
Get them done with. My 2 kids done, over with, whatever. Yeah.
I get what you're saying, and like it's a logical thought before you have kids, right?
But now, no.
Only single people or kids or people without kids say that, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But you have a kid, then you go, you know what I said earlier? Forget about that. It was a terrible idea. I won't ever say it again.
Let alone if you had kids beforehand and then had twins.
Keep talking about Finley.
Oh
he
my
had
gosh.
1 and then twins. No, dude, no. I don't even want to think about it. Arizona's athletic department went on a road trip yesterday to Tempe. And look, Arizona knows they have to win in Phoenix. You got to go to Phoenix. And I'm not talking about winning on the field or on the diamond or on the court. I'm talking about going into Phoenix households and winning. And having people in Phoenix say, you know, the Arizona State University is right down the street, but I want to check out Arizona. I'm curious about what they're doing. I like what they're doing. I want in. And today I've noticed, and last night, 2 people are saying, oh, man, that Dave Hickey, he gets it. Yeah. Is there somebody that doesn't get it? Here's what he said, and he's not wrong. I have no problem with this.
University of Tucson, we're the University of Arizona. We're a national brand. We want to be throughout the entire state. And certainly this market, with a number of alums that we have here, all the people here, this is a very, very important area. So we're going to invest in it and be here a lot.
Yeah. I mean, that is basically him towing the party line, right? I mean, Greg Burns been saying this. I'm sure before that, Jim Livengood was saying it a ton. I will admit I was not here very long while Jim Livengood was, just 2 years before Greg took over while I was here. So that do I give Dave Hickey credit for saying that? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he said the right thing. I guess not everybody does that all the time, but it's not as if he had to make some bold statement. Hey, Phoenix, big time, important. We're there. Yeah, good. So be encouraged that the direction of the athletic department in general is holding course. And in certain directions or in certain situations, that's what you want. Now, if you're Rich Rodriguez, who is there with Adia Barnes and Dave Rubio and Sean Miller, if you're Rich Rodriguez, you think, okay, we could do better here. But if you're Arizona football, or excuse me, if you're Arizona basketball or softball, I mean, you've done well in Phoenix. You win, you recruit. I think for the most part, if you blacked out football, Arizona has done really well in the Valley in promoting themselves as an academic institution, as a athletic program. I think they've done really well. Football is tougher because Arizona doesn't carry the tradition with them. Arizona State's is very good. Plus, Arizona State is currently investing financially in their facilities. So that one is a much more difficult sell, and it will continue to be. And then, so you think, okay, well, what can Arizona do to compete with Phoenix? And the most knee-jerk, repeated, substanceless answer is this one.
As the importance of it. We even talked about it this morning a little bit. And, as coaches, we don't have a lot of patience. We want to do it now. But for our program
Don't
to
say
continue to grow,
Don't
or to
do
grow
it.
to the next step, we need to have
Resist.
an indoor yesterday.
Oh.
And Dave has a sense of urgency, so I'm lucky he's on board.
Yeah. Super lucky he's on board. Great. And it's easy for Dave Hickey to say that kind of stuff, right? Hey, Rich came in, he said he wants an indoor. Yeah, just tell him yes. He'll go away. Like, I don't get it. I mean, I understand why Rich wants the indoor because everybody else has one. I mean, I lived in Texarkana, Texas. There were 2 high schools out of 3 in the city, and 2 of them had 75-yard indoor practice facilities. 2 public high schools in a town of less than 100,000. Public money. It goes a long way if people want to spend it, no doubt. But to me, this clamoring, crying, moaning, wailing for an indoor is so tone deaf. That's not what you need, bro. That'd be like, you got this car out back and it's a beater, and some of you do this, and you say, oh man, this car's such a piece of junk. It's so terrible. Hey, let's put $1,000 rims on him. Yeah, that'll look good. No, it won't. Fix the car first. Don't put the rims on. Put the $1,000 into the car and then put the rims on. The indoor facility are the rims. Do you need them? I mean, you need car rims. Tires don't work without rims. No question about that. Arizona has a practice facility. They have tires. They have rims. Are they fancy? Are they Dubs? Are they Blades? Are they Daytons? No. Are they wheels? Are they rims? Yes. So, Arizona, no question, needs an updated practice facility. But before that, what about the stadium? Why am I not hearing about the stadium? Hickey said it. He understands. And I think Rich Rodriguez also knows that they have to invest in the stadium, but he keeps chirping about the indoor. It's like he's stuck. Remember CDs skipping? Kind of repeat the same thing if you don't. It's like Rich Rod's stuck. Because somebody's got to tap him to get the CD to move forward. Forget about the indoor. You should be barking up that tree to get your stadium improved. Forget about the 10 or 15 million bucks you want for an indoor. You need $150 million for a new stadium that's not made out of hot garbage. Terrible that stadium is. Oh, Zach, the north end zone is great. Cool. You have the money to sit there? No, you don't. You sit on one of the east-west ends. Not so fun, especially during the day, especially in the sun. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, some of you can afford north end zone seats, but guess what? If you're sitting in the north end zone, you don't get to look at it. You got to look at the rest of the stadium, which is ugly. The scoreboard is nice, but the scoreboard was cool when it went in, but now who cares? It looks cool, but again, the rest of the stadium is garbage. The bathrooms aren't right. They can't sell concessions right. I mean, you got to spend money to make money, and that is so trite. It is so cliche. But in this situation, it's spot on. It's dead right. If Arizona wants to make more in commission, in fact, I heard Dave Hickey the other day on IMG, and he was talking about beer sales. And he said, look, we'd love to sell beer, but guess what? We don't have the facility. We can't even do it. And they probably can't. So you want to sell beer? Cool, let's update that stadium. You want to make more in concessions? Great, let's update that stadium. You want people to not whine about having to go to the bathroom for all hours? Great, let's update that stadium. But about that indoor? Great, let's update this stadium. No, indoor. Squash. Enough. Take that indoor thought, put it in your pocket, and don't take it out for 5 years. I don't want to hear about it. And let me just say this. If they do build the indoor before they fix the stadium, complete and total boobery. Would be the dumbest thing you could do. Take that money, take that 8, 10, 15 million, and move it forward into the stadium. Don't build an indoor. I'm not against the indoor facility, but we've got to prioritize spending. And building an indoor facility would be insane. It would be insane right now to do that. Rich can keep talking about it, and if he feels like Dave is listening, cool, but it's not. The priorities are screwy, to say the least, when we talk about this. I'm sick of the indoor talk, not just from Rich and from Hickey, but from y'all, from anybody. I don't want to hear anybody talk about the indoor for a long time because it's just, you're wasting your time. You're moving in the wrong direction. Your efforts are going in the wrong direction. Don't do it. Stop. We'll talk Arizona Wildcats baseball coming up next. Jay Johnson, head baseball coach of the Wildcats, joins us here on ESPN Tucson 1490 and 104.9 FM. I think our friend Chris was trying to get me physically harmed. It says, "Hey DJ" by Lighter Shade of Brown. I don't know. I don't really
Racist.
I don't really know what to say right now. I will say this: Sunday, June 3rd, is Southern Arizona's Day of Deliciousness, the day for the Stella Artois Iron Chef Tucson competition and culinary experience at the Westin La Paloma. Tickets for both events are on sale now at IronChefTucson.com. We'll talk NBA playoffs here in a few minutes. But now I want to talk Arizona Wildcats baseball, and no better to join us on the All-Pro Plumbing studio line than head coach Jay Johnson. Coach, how are you, sir?
Great, Zach. Thanks for having me on.
It is always my pleasure, Coach. And what do you learn, or what have you learned about your club through the struggle y'all have had as of late in the conference?
Well, they've been relatively resilient through it, and that's been our best quality is the competitiveness. It took it on the chin up there at Stanford, losing 3 games by a total of 4 runs. There's plenty of things that we want to clean up that we have worked towards this week. We've had a couple good practices, but they're still coming to the field extremely hungry. Through 43 games, we've put ourselves in a good position. The last couple weekends have been a little bit rough, but we're ready for the next opportunity, and that's what we're looking for out of the month of May is 13 games of great opportunity.
Well, I think one of the things y'all have played so well leading up to the last couple of weeks, and I think what we may have forgotten, Coach, is just how hard it is to grind each week and week out in this conference. I mean, tell us about that. How hard is it facing this caliber of competition? Even the teams that, quote, aren't as good like Stanford are still very good.
Well, yeah, I mean, and they're in second place now for a reason. They're in position to host a regional now for a reason. And, just a couple weeks ago, they were answering the question of why they weren't winning more, and so that tells you how quickly, good and bad, how things turn. I mean, all but one team in the Pac-12 is in the top 100 of the RPI. We have 8 teams that legitimately have a chance to be in the NCAA tournament. And it's tough week in, week out. It always comes back to the play. The team that deserves to win usually does. For the first half of league, that was us in most cases. It has not been the case the last 2 weekends. So you just go back to work, and that's what we've done. And we're in a good place for coming off of that, at least from a mindset standpoint. We will compete extremely hard this weekend against a very good Washington team. It does not let up in terms of the schedule, so you have no choice but to look forward, and that's what we're doing.
You talk about being in a good place, and I know you were talking about mentally, but earlier you were talking about position. Do y'all look ahead, whether as a team or as a coaching staff or just you individually, and think about postseason, think about hosting, or is that just one of those one game at a time things?
Well, we really try for it to be one game at a time, which is very abnormal to almost every human being when you look at all the projections that come out and possibilities of hosting national seeds. And, just being in the NCAA tournament is very difficult to do, especially in a league that is as good as the Pac-12. So personally, I certainly do not take it for granted. Our players know the challenges that they have in front of them, and we got a lot of work to do, and we understand that. And because of that, if you look at the big picture or you look up, you're going to get bit. And so you cannot do that. It's what's right in front of us, what's important now, and that's this weekend. And in a smaller sense, tomorrow night's game against Washington, all the games count the same. And so we want to be ready for the next opportunity.
As you look across, whether it's the batting lineup, the defense, the pitching, what do you think is the most fixable aspect for you guys right now where there are struggles? What's the easiest thing to fix?
Well, it's been an interesting evolution. For 35 games, our offense was as good as you could ask for at any level of college baseball, even at the Pac-12 where it's a pitching-dominated and defense-dominated league. With that being said, that's where we've struggled the last 2 weeks. We've gotten back to some basics with guys and try to get them comfortable back in their approach and their swing. And hopefully getting back at home at High Corbett, we'll be ready to take some good at-bats and do what we do when we're in the batter's box and on the bases, which is try to create a lot of pressure on the opponent with a bunch of tough at-bats. The encouraging thing over the last 5 games at least is we've pitched extremely well. And, getting J.C. Cloney back and healthy will be important. And in his regular role of pitching on Friday, this is the first time in like 4 weeks we've been able to do that. He's missed 2 of his last 4 starts. We've moved Cameron Ming into the rotation as essentially our second most reliable or consistent pitcher to try to maximize the amount of quality innings he can give us on a weekend. Cody Deason's emerged. So I'm very encouraged by the pitching. And then offensively, if we can get ourselves back in character, we were pitched extremely extremely well by Stanford last weekend. I don't expect it to be any different, moving forward as there's a lot of teams with a lot of good pitching. So now we're making our adjustments and getting back to what we do well, hopefully, which is scoring a lot of runs.
You mentioned Cameron Ming. I mean, it's easy to talk about J.C. Cloney and what he brings to this team, but what's it like having a guy like Cameron Ming that can help bring you as close to stable from a starting standpoint as possible through tough times?
Well, it's really big, and to be honest, it's one of the tougher decisions that I've had to make was to pull him out of the bullpen. I just believe in finishing games. It does a lot for your team, and Cameron's been outstanding at that for this entire season and a good part of last season. But with JC's injury, it just made the weekend extremely long without really having a go-to starting pitcher. So we've done it. He's pitched extremely well. The downside is we've lost leads both games that he's started, after the 7th inning. But right now it's pick your poison thing. And by keeping us in the game, giving our offense a chance to work, I think this is what's best for the long haul. And some guys improving throughout the pitching staff, like Cody Deason, like Tyler McGill, moving Rio Gomez back to the bullpen. I think it will set us up well over the next month, and I think it's got a chance to be a good formula. And I'm very confident, and I know our team's confident when Cameron is out there competing for us.
Home this weekend, as you've mentioned, at High C. Washington Huskies in town for a 3-game set. Coach, tell us about the Huskies.
Very good. Very talented, very well coached, very experienced. Lindsey Meggs, their coach, is, in my opinion, one of the best coaches in the country, definitely in the Pac-12. Really good, experienced couple starters. Noah Brimmer, the pitcher we'll see tomorrow night, is one of the best pitchers in the Pac-12, and very experienced position player group. Joey Morgan is one of the best catchers in the country. Offensively, they've scuffled a little bit more than I would have expected with as many veteran players as they have, and hopefully we can hold that down for another week where they don't quite get going. But they're going to play hard. They're going to play the game the right way. If we win this weekend, it's going to be because we earned it. And it's a great challenge for our team. It's 2 teams that are, fighting for, a chance to go to the NCAA tournament and do something special in the postseason. And so we're not planning on giving an inch. I know they won't either. And it should be a very good game or a very good set of games.
Coach, is there a sign or an area of this team that you'll be looking at this weekend in particular? I mean, who do you want to be leading the charge here? If there's going to be success on the Diamond Few, who leads the charge?
Well, that's a great question. And really what we try to get back to, Zach, is just the play and taking what's in front of us, which essentially is a pitch at a time and an inning at a time. I think starting with JC and Cameron on the weekend, I know they'll set a good tone throwing strikes, which allows our defense to play better. We seem to play better behind those 2 guys. I think there's something to that. And then offensively, knowing we're facing good pitching, it's just going to come down to taking at-bats within our character, hitting mistakes, battling with 2 strikes, passing the ball or passing the bat off to the next guy with a chance to do something. And I'm excited. We've had 2 good days of practice. We had a good offensive game up at Santa Clara on Monday, which I think was a good step forward out of our team. And it's just going to be good to get back to High Corbett and compete. And we're just looking to play our caliber of baseball, which we've done a lot over this season. And, sometimes when you go through a tough spell, you have to remind your team they've had a lot of success in winning baseball games against a really good schedule. I mean, we still have the number 1 RPI in the country, and they've earned that in terms of non-conference play. And so it's all about tomorrow. We're just trying to improve and be ready to compete, and I'm really excited for it to be 7 o'clock tomorrow and get out there and do that.
Coach, you've worked so hard with these guys, work hard in practice and not work hard during games, but be light, easy breezy. How difficult is it to stem the tide on any kind of panic? Because when you lose games like you guys have, you mentioned it, 6 in a row in conference play, the last 3 by a total of 4 runs. How do you keep the confidence from sliding?
Well, it's difficult. It's one of the most important things we have to do. And, what we've tried to do is remind them of their success. This team or this program had a lot of success last year. We don't even have to go back that far. You can point to, we won a tournament with Arkansas, Oklahoma State, Nebraska, which is essentially an NCAA regional.
Yeah.
We've swept 3 series against teams that are going to win their conference in non-conference play. We won 4 of our first 5 Pac-12 series, which is pretty amazing. I think we only won 5 of the 10 that we played all of last year. So all's not lost. I think sometimes, you just have to, again, you can't look back and you can't look up. It can't be, well, we have to do this over the next month to do what we want to do. We've played ourselves into a position where all of our goals are achievable, and that's a credit to our team, regardless of how the last 2 weeks have gone. So it all comes back to the play. We have our pitching staff in the best position that it's been in over a month and a half, and I just want them to look at everything as opportunity because they've played themselves into that. And if they can do that and keep perspective on it, it'll allow us to focus on what we need to do, which is throw strikes, take a bunch of tough at-bats, and play really good defense. And, over the better part of 43 games, when we've done that, we've been really successful.
The Arizona Wildcats welcome the Washington Huskies at High Corbett Field this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 7 o'clock, and noon. ArizonaWildcats.com for tickets and more. Coach, good luck this weekend. We always appreciate your time.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Zach. Take care.
Our pleasure, Coach. Always great talking with Jay Johnson. They're in action this weekend against Washington, and his job right now very difficult. The team's on a bit of a slide, but they have the talent, and I certainly have the faith in him as the skipper. We'll talk NBA playoffs and some Twin conspiracy theory coming up next on ESPN Tucson 1490 and 104.9 FM. So you've heard me talking lately about Mattress Firm and how they were doing some big-time Mellow Man Ace with Mentirosa here on Throwback Thursday. Thanks to our friend Crystal Pino, 106 The Groove. Stacey, I will say, I think that is my favorite Spanish word to say. Liar. It's just.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, I love rolling R's. The English language is very boring to say. Spanish, not so much. So, yeah, I think Mentirosa is. I think it's my favorite.
All right.
I think it's my favorite Spanish word to say. Plus, it just. Screaming liar at people is fun.
I
too.
figured cerveza would be your favorite. But.
Yeah, but it doesn't roll off the tongue. Pun definitely intended that Mentirosa does. It is a random thought that nobody really cares about, but I feel a little better about that one than I do about the last one. Still not totally comfortable with the last choice. Again, I didn't make them. I love Crystal. NBA playoffs, you look at Toronto, you look at Cleveland, and you say, well, if this was a 3-game series, best 2 out of 3, or if it was a single game, yeah, maybe you can see Toronto winning. Maybe. But what I'm learning here right now, and really I probably learned this last year, is that no matter what Toronto does, there's really nothing they can do that's going to allow them to win this series. There's not. They don't have the requisite firepower to do it. They don't have an answer for all of the different things that Cleveland does well. And look, Cleveland has not been at their best. I don't think anybody is going to trumpet that. But while we say things like, well, they really have not been at their best, they are undefeated in the postseason. They're 6-0.
Yeah.
So
I just wanted to go back to Boston there for a second.
Oh, okay.
Did you know you were in here during the Sports Center update?
I was.
So
Was I supposed to be listening to it?
Well, did you know that Boston is undefeated all time when they take a 2-0 series lead in a best-of-7 series?
So when and we're talking about a huge sample size.
34-0.
Well, my point is the Boston Celtics have been to more playoff series than most NBA franchises.
That is correct.
So it's not as if it's one of those bunk stats where it's like one time and they won that one series.
And I know this team is not those other 34 teams,
No,
but still, it's whenever you're talking about this franchise,
that's a big stat.
it is.
Well, but here's what's going to happen, Stacey. They're not going to win tonight. They're already getting doubled up. It's 43-21. But look, is anybody going to be surprised that Washington goes home tonight and wins this game? Nah, I mean, you're down 2-0. You should have won game 2. You should have been able to corral Isaiah Thomas to a point. He scored 29.
One game one.
Well, they had
You're up 16 points.
16 nothing, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll give him tonight. But after that, Stace, look, I thought Boston would be a little more competitive tonight, but I don't think I'm not going to put too much stock in this game. I like Boston in this series. I mean, Boston and Cleveland are on a pretty smooth collision course as far as I'm concerned at this point. And LeBron James, watching him in the playoffs, I know a lot of you don't like him. I don't care. Watching him in the playoffs is like really expensive wine or like really nice chocolate. You're just like, man, don't end. I keep pouring wine, keep drinking, keep eating this chocolate. It just, watching LeBron in the playoffs, I just don't want to stop watching it. I could watch it over and 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 over again.
When I think the last 6 years you have over and over and over and over and over.
I mean, I don't. Where has LeBron not been on the basketball court in the last 6 years? It's crazy. Can I just say, Stacey, and I've said it dozens of times, and I'm going to keep saying it, with Washington, I love the twin switch theory. I love it. Like, Markieff Morris hurts himself in game 1, hobbling all over the place, can barely even use one of his legs, and then he comes out in game 2, plays as well as he has all year long, is uninjured seemingly. Oh, and what's the catch? Maybe none. Or, how many guys in the league like him have an identical twin brother? If you're them and you could, would you do it? Like if you're sitting at Markieff's house in suburban Virginia, and Markieff's going, man, bro, my ankle's killing me. What do you think about subbing in? Because, I mean, think about it. If you get caught, I mean, both your careers are over, right?
Yeah. I think at that point.
I mean, they already have a tough track record.
Yeah.
So, would you do it? We know that. I mean, those dudes love each other.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just think the risk at this
like
point,
those two guys care about
well,
that.
no, I just think at this point they're still good enough to play in the
they're not
league
that old.
for.
No, 10 years,
I don't know if they'll be in the league 10 years.
8, 7,
But-
enough to make a lot more money.
And that's the thing. They both have the opportunity to make a
to play
boatload of
now
money.
and never work again, basically.
Yeah.
Right? Which they should be able to do now, but I wouldn't be able to hold on to that kind of money. I'd be spending like crazy.
So I think due to that aspect alone, they don't do it. But if you ask me in 5 years, I would consider it. I would really consider it.
Oh, like when they're older and you have less to lose?
Yeah. Whereas you right now still have 7-8 years worth of money to make.
And they've said they've done it before, not at this level, but they said in AAU
High school.
And so like one of them got hurt, one of them fouled out, they would switch, or I mean, yeah, I don't know. And people keep telling me, no, Zach, that didn't happen. But you know what I keep saying? Well, yeah, what if it did? Oh, but Zach, no way. Yeah, but
they would have caught him, Zach.
what if they didn't? Oh, yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah. The officiating in the NBA is so terrible, they can't catch anything. Good Lord. The only person that would have caught it would be Tim Donaghy, and they fired him a long time ago. Oh, man.
What if he was in on it?
Let the conspiracy theory get even greater. I don't think they let...
Why don't you guys go make me a boatload of money in the
Why would they cut him in? They don't need Donaghy. They could do it without him and still make the same money. He'd be useless unless he was fronting them. Unless they found somebody, which it wouldn't be Donaghy because he wouldn't have the money. They'd have, if you're going to make somebody else money, they'd have to be able to ensure you that if you got caught, they would financially back you from then on. It'd have to be like a mutual agreement. Like, I'll take care of you now, but if things go south, you got to take care of me. Forget about the playoffs, man. I just want to talk about the notion of these guys doing this. Very quickly, though, it was fun watching San Antonio flip the switch in that fourth quarter. I mean, Houston only scored 13 points. We talk so much about the evolution of Kawhi Leonard's game. I think sometimes we forget how it started with an extreme focus on defense. Unbelievable. Unbelievable what he did last night, especially on James Harden. But I have to wonder with Tony Parker, you know, if this was 5-6 years ago, is this as big of a loss? Probably not. Or probably it's much greater loss. But now, I know he's older. I know his role is not the same. But this team, this current set of players, Tony Parker's never missed a playoff game in a Spurs uniform. So they don't know what it's like to play without him. I'm not thinking like, oh my God, do I bounce it now? Is this a basketball? I bounce. Tony's out of the game. I don't know what to do. Oh, I shoot. Defense now? Oh, okay. That's not going to be a thing, but consistency, reliability in the playoffs is paramount, and you lose a little bit of that with Tony Parker being out. It's not just out for game 4. He's out. Game 3, I guess, would be next. He's out, like, for the season. Not coming back no matter what the Spurs do, no matter how far they go. They are Tony Parker less for the rest of the season, and that's all there is to it. I'm going to talk more NBA in the last call, but it's going to be a little different. I'm all on board Team Mayweather. Money team, the money team in the NBA. That's next on ESPN Tucson 1490 and 104.9 FM. I'm not one to change my mind like all the time. But now that I have said that mentirosa is my favorite word in Spanish, can la raza be my favorite phrase?
Sure.
Excellent, because I like saying that one too. I don't speak any Spanish, by the way, for those of you that are wondering. I can sound like I speak Spanish. Like if you gave me something in Spanish, I can read it and you'd think, oh my God, this guy can speak Spanish. No. I just make it sound like I can. It's a talking thing. I do it for a living.
Okay. Or do you just like going with your tongue?
I'm sorry, can I hear that again? And what does that have to do with speaking Spanish?
I don't know. Just rolling your tongue, the R's and whatever.
I don't know what just happened. I've lost complete control of this bus. I don't know what. So I think it was today. Could have been last night. I don't follow Floyd Mayweather on Twitter or Instagram. I can't imagine how obnoxious that would be. But I saw at some point he tweeted a picture of himself and Magic Johnson, and the caption said something like, "It's time for Floyd Mayweather to own an NBA team." Like he and Magic were talking about it. Can I just tell you, that is the greatest idea I have heard all week long. 100% I support this. Yes, yes, yes. Well, people say, and I've heard this before today already, well, Zach, he doesn't know what he's doing. Not a qualification to be an owner. Absolutely not. Should you know what you're doing? Probably. How many of them don't? We live in a state. In fact, the owner of the Phoenix Suns is from Tucson. He is a Tucsonan. He went to the UofA. Nobody likes him. He has no idea what he's doing. You may like him as a philanthropist, but not as a sports team owner. He's the worst. So many owners have no idea what they're doing. Look at Jed York. You think that guy knows what he's doing? No. Look at the Niners. They're terrible. Running the Niners is so difficult, and he did it magnificently. Brilliantly, he did that. Here's why I like Floyd Mayweather as an NBA owner. We know that he has zero problem spending money. Nay, zero problem wasting money on absurd things. I mean, could you imagine what the locker rooms would look like if he owned a team? Oh, my God. I mean, we can agree that if he owns a team, it's got to go to Vegas, right? Like it would have to. Would he keep it like the money team? TMT on the front of the jerseys? In fact, I think they already make and sell those jerseys. Think about how over the top it would be. Every game would be just this wild experience. And you know what? I don't see why this can't happen. He has the money. I mean, if it was baseball, the snooty powers that be would say, we're too good for a guy like that. Whatever that means. They were too good for Mark Cuban. I don't understand it. I think owners like this are great. I mean, he's not Prokhorov, the guy that does he still own the Nets? Yeah, like that's the wrong kind of crazy. Yeah, Russian billionaire, but I mean, you see him in off-season workouts teaching basketball players that are in their early 20s how to work out with big old leather medicine balls. Like that's bad. You're going to hurt somebody. What does this guy know? But if you're Floyd Mayweather, one of the world's greatest athletes, we can debate that. Some people think that he's gotten to where he has by ducking, dodging, whatever. But the alt for Dodger, I'm sure there's something to that. I think he'd be a great owner. I think he'd want to spend money. We know he's competitive. All he'd want to do is win. I mean, what is, and as most athletes are, but what is his career based on? What is it? There's one thing that is the backbone of his career, and it's not even money. He doesn't lose. He's never lost. He's undefeated. I think he'd be a great owner. Stacey, what do you think? I mean, again, people tell me he doesn't know what he's doing. A lot of owners don't know what they're doing. That's not a quality. I don't care about that. He would spend.
Yeah.
They would win.
Much like Mark Cuban, like I said.
Yeah.
You want guys that want to win and are willing to pay whatever it takes to do it.
I want an owner that's not afraid to spend money, and I'm talking about a lot of it. Like a lot of it. And I want also them not only to want to do it, but my dad said something to me one time. My dad's a big saver. We talked about this earlier. That if you want to be a good money saver, you have to enjoy saving money as much as you do spending it. Well, I'm screwed because I will never like saving it more than I like spending it. Right? But the owner, whatever owner we're talking about, not only do they have to spend it, but they've got to like it. They've got to like writing that check. they've got to feel as if it's empowering to write a check of that size as opposed to, oh, no, my investment. Screw your investment. Your fans want you to win. And I don't even think Floyd would think of it as an investment. He'd be like, hey, cool, look what I got. It's like a car. Yeah, cool, check this out, guys. Hey, come to my backyard. It's my NBA team. They're just chilling by the pool.
And let alone the fact that they still have millions of other dollars to their name that they can use to spend.
That's what I'm saying. It's perfect. It's perfect. Is it going to happen? I think it could. He's got the cash, you'd think. Want to thank Erica Weston and Jay Johnson for joining us. Charles in the call screening room, of course. Stacy right across from me, and you, the savviest listeners in all of Sports Talk Radio. We're back tomorrow, 3 to 5, right here on ESPN Tucson, 1490 and 104.9 FM.